BobbyFi talking football with Eric Sheets Haber. Week 17 coming up. Only one more week after this of the regular season. So I know Sheets is excited to get it over with, although he keeps winning everything. And I'm ready to get into it. I'm ready to get back the million that keeps eluding me. Let's do it this week, Sheets. I'm ready for it. Any overall thoughts on this monster slate that we haven't had the giant slate since I think week 1 or 2?
No, we get a full slate. And yeah, I mean, I only worry that I had my shot last week. You only get like one shot, I think, during the season.
Oh, I've had a bunch of them this year, I feel like.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I only just had the one. I mean, to win the whole enchilada.
You had a really good shot, yeah.
Yeah, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm still pondering. And by the way, I changed the subscriber only thing.
Oh, cool.
Trying to think of whether I want to take a shot with the 22-22. I'm sure I will at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to it because listen, not that this is we can't get a handle on it, but the last week of the season is going to be a lot of substitutes and whatever it is. And Bobby will be on that, and he'll know which ones to play, or at least ones we think we want to play. But this is a big full slate, and some as we get not so much this week, but maybe. There are going to be guys that have milestones they have to reach, like either for contract reasons or for prestige reasons, like Tyreek Hill for 2,000 yards, and like a lot of guys looking for stuff,
right.
that they're not in playoff contention, or even if they are, they'll try to make sure that they get those. So that's something to keep in mind as well. But I'm ready to just kind of get after it here.
All right, let's do it. We'll pull up your screen. We'll go game by game and see if we can make sense of it as best we can, starting with where we're at, which means there's going to be 100 games that start at 10 a.m. or 1 p.m. Eastern. So we're going to start off with the biggest game of the week, certainly. And yeah, this is for the AFC 1 seed right here. Like this is pretty much as big as it gets, and you have I believe the highest scoring team in football and the fourth highest scoring team in football. So it should be an interesting one.
Yeah, hold on. Let me just pull up my. I had it all ready to go, and then I just kind of lost it. Hold on, just 1 second.
Yeah, take your time.
First of all, it is New Year's Eve day, right? This is going to be. Let me just see something. Why did I lose this? Why don't you start? I'll be with you in a second.
Yeah, so this game is just my favorite game. I mean, like the problem is it's going to be hard to fit pricing wise. We need to know about Waddle, obviously. Assuming that the quarterbacks both play, I like both of them. I just want to point out this game last year had 4. So last year, Lamar, I think, had 48 in this game. I believe Tua had 44. I believe Tyreek had 48, and I believe that Waddle had 44. So they basically equaled 200 points between those 4 players. Now, obviously, you can't play 2 quarterbacks. But this is where all of the fantasy stuff went. And I know they're different teams and all that stuff. But these teams, when they played last year, it was absolutely it started the whole can we find a way to play Tyreek and Waddle together, because it was really appealing. It's a tough matchup for the running game for Miami. And I'm not going to use any of the Baltimore backs on this slate. But I do think that maybe getting a little bit of exposure to Mostert and A-Chain makes some sense. I like Mostert a little bit better. I also like Odell Beckham Jr. And I mean, Flowers will be a popular, guy to stack with, as will Likely. I think that Odell Beckham Jr. is a really good play off a week where we thought he was very heavily played on that the Christmas Day slate. I don't even want to think about that slate anymore because it's depressing me. But I would get exposure to all these receivers in multi-entry, and Beckham, Flowers would be my 2 favorites. But I wouldn't cross off Bateman or Aguilar in this type of game environment. And then you just have to figure out what's happening with whether Waddle and or Tyreek are healthy. That's going to decide a lot of what you do, because Cedric Wilson is going to look like a really good value play, potentially even Braxton Berrios. So I like all of this game is basically where I'm at. I'm just not as high on the running aspects of it.
Yeah, so again, I don't know what's going on with Waddle. Are you presuming he plays or not play?
I mean, basically the sites are presuming he's not playing, so I don't know what to do with it.
Okay, so this is still early, whatever it is. But in the vein of someone's going to have to win category, I'm getting very little of this game.
Oh, sure, yeah, of course. No one's going to naturally get to this game,
right? Because it's hard to do.
Right.
whether it be just regular building or even using contest sims, the most I'm getting is like 6% Baltimore and almost 0 Miami. As far as individual players are concerned, I'm really not getting too much of any of them either. So I would be getting some Flowers right now. Aside from that, I mean, I can't imagine why I wouldn't want this game. You know, it reminds me of that Dallas game last week. You know what I mean? It was like, it looked like a great game, a lot of points, but it's kind of hard to play these guys. So, and not to mention the fact that it's usually difficult to play Baltimore guys. You don't know exactly who to play except for Lamar. So I don't know. I'm probably going to be under. That's the best I can say.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's really playing it that much, so I'm very happy to eat up the ownership of this one.
Okay, fair enough.
Live with the consequences. All right, what do you got next? New England Buffalo. Okay.
Yeah, so New England Buffalo. I presume I'm going to look at my exposures here. Wow, this is really surprising. I thought I would have a lot more of James Cook.
It's Leonard Fournette's there now.
Oh, okay. That explains it. All right. So with that said,
I still don't know if that's really why, but anyway, sorry.
Well, I mean, I have him with a 17-point projection. That's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
But with a 17-point projection, I'm not really getting there. And as far as anything else, I mean, I don't know. I'm not. It seems though you should avoid this game, and I think the projections are bearing that out, and I think that my lineup bills are bearing it out. I'm probably not going to have much of anything.
Yeah, I like Cook. I just want to point out that the only thing I'm a little nervous about the Patriots, as bad as they've been, I think over the last 6 games, they've given up the fewest points in the NFL. I like James Cook. That's what I'm going to do. I do think that if they get up, you know, you'll probably see a couple possessions for Fournette, and then you still have Lat Murray back there too. Demario Douglas is going to look like a value play. I think I'd rather play Devontae Parker if I had to pick one, but I don't really want to play either of them. So I am probably just going to be on the James Cook side of this game. If you wanted, if you wanted to take a shot at any of the receivers or anything, fine. There's just so many games to choose from. I just don't see this being the best spot to try to attack.
Is this a game, by the way, that I mean? Listen, New England's been playing tough, right? They've been hanging on, whatever. Buffalo's been kind of rolling.
Buffalo almost lost that game to Chargers.
I was going to say until the Charger game.
Yeah.
And they're coming home in this game. I think they could put a beating on them.
It feels like that, but then the defense has been so good for the Patriots.
I know.
Like almost inexplicably. I guess makes a little bit of sense. They got their defenders back, but yeah, maybe a Buffalo hammer stack. But it's just even when they hammer now, even when they hammered Dallas, it was all James Cook. You know what I mean?
I presume the Buffalo defense is going to be a good play. I don't know what are they 5K? I mean, you know what I mean? I presume
they're 3,900. Yeah, they're a good play. They're just expensive.
But yeah, I'm just kind of probably leaning towards other games a little more.
Yeah, I probably will end up. Buffalo defense seems like the right play, and I'll probably end up with more of the New England defense just because of the pricing.
Yeah.
All right, let's move over to what is the next one?
Atlanta, Chicago.
Yeah, let's do that.
Unless there's a great deal of wind in this game. I mean, I haven't looked at the weather or anything like that for this. Unless it's a really just shitty weather game somehow. This is probably one of my favorite games. Both sides of the ball here. But both DJ Moore, Kyle Pitts, Drake London, Justin Fields I would have right now as one of my top-owned quarterbacks. And Tyler Heineke I would have as one of my top-owned quarterbacks as well, presuming he even plays. What was he, limited on Wednesday, whatever it is. So I don't know. I don't know where ownership is right now, but I imagine this has got to be a popular game. I would think. So this is a game I have a lot of interest in. The usual suspects on both sides of this.
Yeah, I'm not especially interested in this one personally. There should be snowing. 10 to 20 mile an hour winds. Not exactly an ideal game script, but even on top of that, look, I like DJ Moore either way. I think that Drake London or Bijan Robinson, fair enough. Just point out that Buffalo's the Bears defense has been really, really good. And the Bears probably aren't going to have a tight end, and I don't really know what to do with that like yet, or I guess they'll use Tunyon, but Tunyon with one of the easiest drops of the year. You also, I don't know. I think it's just going to be more for me. I probably will build a Justin Fields stack because I think that the upside is always there. But I don't love this game. And I just like a little bit of the pieces because they're cheap, but nothing special for me here. All right, Tennessee and Houston.
Yeah, so I currently, in my current builds, using Sims or whatever else I have at my disposal, I'm getting 2 running backs at looks to be about over, maybe actually 3 running backs over 20% ownership in my builds, and one of them is Devin Singletary. But I mean, how many times am I going to learn my lesson? You just don't play running backs against Tennessee. So I'm probably going to end up going a little bit under on that. But right now, that's kind of where I am. Hold on just one second.
Yeah, I'll keep going, guys, because I like this spot actually a little bit for a few things. Go ahead, Chief. Sorry, I'll finish.
Okay. So no, but I do like other things here. So I'm going to give my same speech as I did last week, and I'll qualify for a second. Last I checked, this is December, and last I heard, Derrick Henry is not going to be owned. And last week he scored 21 fantasy points. He got 20 touches. They even ran a freaking trick play for him where he threw a touchdown. And yes, I know it's not at home and in the cold and all that stuff, but it's not just about that. Like at the end of the freaking season, when your season's over and you don't feel like playing defense, you don't feel like the last thing you want to face is like someone that runs like that at you. So I don't know where he's going to come ownership. I know I can't find him anywhere in my projections. I can't find him anywhere in my builds, but I'm just gonna keep doing it. So yeah. I'm gonna have some of that. And aside from that, I'm not getting to too much of this. Now, if Stroud is back somehow,
he's supposed to be.
Ooh, all right. So if Stroud is back, I guess you have to look at the receivers here. Okay. So I guess I'll let you take it away because I guess that's where we're going to go. So if we're not going to play, maybe you are, but unless you're playing running backs against Tennessee, I think we could, obviously take a look at the injury report with Collins or Brown. If one of them is out, then the other one's like a smash. And Noah Brown might be a great play anyway. So, okay, that I can be sold.
Yeah, I'm in on this game. I really like the Houston passing side of it. Again, like we talk about with Tennessee, I love playing the passing game against these guys because the running game is hard to get to, harder to get there. Singletary is cheap, but I like the so if I had to, not knowing, assuming that Stroud plays, I like the Stroud. I think Schultz is the best offensive weapon to use him with. I love Schultz at 4,300 with Stroud back against Tennessee. Sign me up. I also think that that Brown. I think Brown reemerges, and then Collins. I like all of them, so I'm in on that. I will just point out for many of you, DeAndre Hopkins played for Houston for a very, very long time, and he's too cheap, and it's a great matchup. So DeAndre Hopkins is probably my favorite tournament play in this game. And I will throw in your Derrick Henry as one of the other pieces that I'll use, and I will throw in Tajay Spears even a little bit. All right. Henry. I think that's another way you can get a little bit different, and there's upside for Spears depending on the game script. So I'm in on this game as a whole. This is probably my second favorite spot on the slate. Maybe
right.
I can do it. Yeah,
I happen to have Houston defense, one of the top defenses right now.
Yeah,
but we'll see. It's early. Let's see what happens.
Absolutely, yeah. I think you're right. I think they are going to be the highest on defense as of the moment, anyway. And remember, just as the weather gets a little weirder, we like the dome games though to try and target. So that's another reason why I want to target it. All right. What do you got here, Sheets?
I have Indiana, Indianapolis. We have Pittman remains in the concussion protocol. That's obviously pretty relevant. You have Jonathan Taylor. How did he do last week after all? He really didn't do anything. That's a little bit surprising to me. Did get 18 touches.
Plenty of carries, yeah. Couldn't move.
But nothing in the receiving game, only one target. I happen to like Indianapolis in the game with Vegas coming off of that win against Kansas City. But aside from that, I don't know. This guy, the coach in Vegas, I mean, good for him. I think he likes to run the ball. I don't know. Let's see who's playing. I guess also is Jacobs going to be back?
He's supposed to be, but we don't know.
Jacobs is, who knows? So I really don't want to speculate this. I think of playing Devontae Adams, but I don't know. How about Devontae Adams? Let's talk about this for a second.
Yep.
The last game, they either didn't need him or didn't go to whatever it was. It was a very, very weird game. You know what I mean? They got a couple of pick sixes, and then they just kind of, just said, okay, Kansas City, you can't do anything against us right now. We're going to take no chances, and whatever. But before that, he did get 10, 12 targets, 10 targets, 13 targets a couple of games before that. Mm-hmm. You've been able to do stuff against Indianapolis. The weather is good. It's not, Aiden O'Connell's not freaking, I don't know, Ken Stabler, I don't know, whatever. But maybe Devontae Adams is something worth doing this week.
Yeah, so this is like just a secondary one for me. That this game I think is very interesting, but I have it just behind the other ones. I think that Jacobs will get some ownership at 6,200, and I think that's totally legitimate if he plays. And if he doesn't, you play Zamir White. So boom, easy peasy. Then on the other side, Jonathan Taylor. I actually really do like him. I love that he's going to be low owned. I would love to get to him. It's going to be interesting because I like some of the spend ups in the other spots, but same goes for both Pittman and Adams. I think this is a really good spot for both of them. And I think that Myers and Downs are totally in play with Pierce potentially as a long shot. So I can see a game stack here. It's not my priority. If Michael Mayer plays, I definitely could go back to that, but I don't know if that's going to happen. I think Taylor is my favorite piece in this game. And then I like the idea of maybe getting Adams or Jacobs on the other side of it would probably be the way I'll end up playing this game the most. If I don't think I'm getting to the quarterbacks, at least not as of quite yet. I thought about the idea with O'Donnell, but I don't think I'm going to O'Connell, whatever. I don't know if I'm going to do it. All right, Carolina, Jacksonville.
I pass.
Yeah,
I don't think I want to play anybody here. Let me just look. I wasn't getting him the stats. I wasn't getting the quarterbacks. I wasn't really getting too much of anything. For me, this game is as close to a pass as I can come up with.
Yeah, the thing I'm trying to figure out is, okay, we keep trying to make, or the projections keep trying to make Jonathan Mingo a thing. But what about the guy who just had, what did he have, 2 touchdowns? He had 27 fantasy points last week. DJ Shark. Why isn't that a thing? Like, you know what I mean? Like he had 6 catches and 8 targets, 98 yards receiving, 2 touchdowns. Why wouldn't, and still you go back to this week and he projects worse than Mingo and projects completely unowned where Mingo's projected double-digit owned. I think DJ Shark is something I could talk myself into. There seems to be whatever anybody who these young quarterbacks, especially Bryce Young, can find a rapport with. I'm always gonna take a look at. He tends to dial in on them for a few games. It is kind of interesting that none of us are going to play Ridley, and Ridley is like an incredible play with no what's his name there. And you got Washington. So you've got a lot of guys to choose from. I just don't feel great about any of them. I do think Etienne at running back at low ownership against the worst run defense in football is definitely interesting. So I guess I'll say Etienne is my favorite play in this game. But yeah, just sort of like a whole lot of, should we be playing these guys? Are we supposed to be? Because, I mean, there's a lot of good value and they're missing pieces. But I think the final answer for me is going to be Etienne, I guess. I
do agree that Shark is a better play than Mingo, to say the least. I mean, to the point where, aren't people just going to look at his game log and play him? I mean, no. They're really going to play Mingo more than Shark?
I don't know if they end up playing either of them by the time the week goes off, but as of right now.
You have to be blind to not, you know what I mean? To not do something with this. This has to mean something, right? It's not like he's had 8 targets ever. The whole season.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe week 3. Okay, maybe. So I don't know. But I totally agree with him. Mingo's been awful.
I just think if people are going to pay down, they're all going to play the Giants receivers. So I think these guys end up both pretty low owned. Yeah, Mingo's been awful, but he has people have talked about him. He's got upside. He's a rookie. You know what I mean? Chark, we sort of know who he is. He's been in the league for a while. But if Bryce Young has a rapport with him, let's go that way. All right, what do you have next here?
We're almost at the 4 o'clockers, I think.
I don't think so. There's 10 at.
There's 4 more. Sorry. So we have Giants against the Rams, and you just alluded to the cheapos from the Giants side. First of all, who's quarterbacking? That's a good question, actually. It's going to be Tyrod Taylor starting for the Giants. What is Tyrod Taylor? Just for fun,
he could actually play. That's the thing.
He is 4,600.
Yeah. He's going to be owned too.
Oh, you think so?
Oh, I would be really surprised if he's not. It's just.
I have to say that. Like, you do like. You don't have to do all of this, right? But if there's like guys you want to pay up for example, like if you want to do this, then you can have a lot of fun. You can play your McCaffreys and play whatever else you want, I think. I don't know. These guys are going to be popular, and I don't want to say good reason, but probably what's the spread in this game? It can't be that much, right?
I think the Rams are
5, maybe.
Let's see. I lost
even.
It. No. The Rams by 5.5.
5.5.
Yeah.
Good game script. Good game script for everybody I mentioned here. Now I'm looking at this Barkley Q tag. Limited. He'll be fine, I presume.
Yeah. He always. I mean, if he can walk, he usually shows up.
The Rams offense, obviously, Kyren Williams is going to project to be one of the better plays. He's one of the guys that I had at 20% ownership. And both these receivers, they certainly look like they're reasonable enough. Either of these guys can get 2 touchdowns. Very possible. So I don't know. I want to stack this game. Right? It doesn't really rate the score on any points, but I think pieces make sense. I don't know.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. I think, Wan'Dale Robinson, we understand what it is. It's kind of weird because I actually think the better play is like Slayton. And I know that it's getting treated that way, but I've sort of felt that way for a little bit now, that even if they're on the same price, just that Wan'Dale Robinson, technically is not even like a starting receiver. It's very weird. I don't know. But then they do run so many little bubble screens and stuff for him. I guess that I would say Taylor. I like Slayton a little bit better than Robinson. I like Waller a little bit. I like Taylor a little bit, and I like the idea of a little bit of Barkley and Kyren Williams. Oddly, I'm not getting to much of the Rams receivers, but I think it's just the pricing. But I do think that if you're playing this is a large field and you're probably using already the Giants' value, just at some point Tutu Atwell is gonna reemerge. So that's my large field play. But Kyren Williams and a little bit of Tyrod Taylor to maybe to Jalen Hyatt. Maybe don't even double stack it. That might be a way, or maybe do with Robinson. That's a way I'm definitely considering going. Depends on if Waller's healthy. All right. So next up, what do you got?
Yeah, I have Philly against
Arizona,
and to me this is like a pretty logical, easy thing to play. Philly has that rate to score a lot of points. Hurts, I think, is a really, really good play. I think his receivers are both really good plays, and I think your run backs from Arizona are good. I think McBride is probably a good run back, and maybe take another shot at my nemesis Michael Wilson. I guess he didn't get that many targets, but when he did, they were like long targets.
Yeah, there's a goal line one in there.
Yeah, a goal line one, and a couple of bombs in there. You know what I mean? So I think this is right now. Especially when I ran the Sims, this is actually my highest owned stack is Philly. And it would be, I get to use Goddard. Oh, that's where I'm getting all this back. Okay, so getting a whole bunch of Goddard, but Goddard and A.J. Brown, and I presume, what's his name also, the other receiver. But yeah, this is, I don't want to say don't overthink it, but they rate to score a lot of points. Quarterback is always a good play on the goal line. He's basically guaranteed to get inside the 3.
Mm-hmm.
I presume these guys are all going to get owned, and these Arizona guys, run backs, are going to get owned. But I don't know. It seems logical to me.
Well, no one's going to play Devontae Smith because they never do.
I'll be on that.
I'll get on it too. it feels like they should. AJ Brown's had a couple down weeks. This might be a good spot to get him back going again. I like Goddard a little bit. I don't really want to play. Like, the problem is, like, this game could just be like a grind it out, win by 30 kind of a thing for Philadelphia. I do like
Don't
Swift.
forget, if you win by 30, you know what that means? It means you scored 30.
Yeah, but the problem is, like, what if it's a defense? I mean, they've got so many weapons, and then what if it's just Hurts who runs it in 3 times, and then who you pairing him with? Everybody you pair him with gets, negated basically.
I get it.
So I'm in. I'm in on the idea of the game because of the Arizona pricing of the receivers. However, they've completed in the last 3 games. They have 1 completion, I believe, to wide. No, sorry, they have whatever Rondale Moore had last week.
Oh, it's a disaster.
And Greg Dortch as that's all of it in 3 games.
James Conner was getting everything.
Yeah, and Trey McBride. So I have this game on here, but it's a little bit below the other ones for me. I'm gonna have to revisit this one.
Yeah, the other thing, by the way, about Hurts, I mean, he's I don't want to say injured, but he's banged up. You know what I mean?
He is, for sure.
He's banged up. So that means a couple of things. Like, number one, it's not 100% guaranteed that they make him run.
Right.
When they get in there. And the other thing is that it's also, if they're up 30, he's going to be out of the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
At this stage of his physical development, you know what I mean? They need him ready for the playoffs.
Yeah, and for what it's worth, I do really like your. Unfortunately, I like the idea of getting one of Michael Wilson and Rondale Moore on the other side. I really do. I just think they're too cheap, and it's going to even out at some point. It's getting kind of ridiculous.
Yep.
New Orleans, Tampa Bay. What do you got?
I was expecting to get a little bit more from this side, from this game, obviously, especially the Tampa Bay side. Just not quite getting there. Maybe just because other teams are just better, I suppose. But listen, Mike Evans, most weeks, he actually had a couple of down ones, I guess. Just that one against Atlanta. But he's been just having a great season. Baker's obviously having a great season. Godwin, I think, had a better game, if I'm not mistaken, in his last game. Yeah, he had 11 targets, 12 targets. He's had double-digit targets the last 3 games. Mm-hmm. And Rashad White, he's pretty legit PPR dude. You know what I mean? He's got freaking 20 fantasy points every game. Why aren't we playing him? So I like all these Tampa guys. I'm not seeing much on the New Orleans. I'm not paying $7,500 for Kamara. I guess obviously if Olave is out, then these guys like with Shaheed and whatever come into play. But yeah, I mean, Tampa looks reasonable to me. I'm not getting to them, but right now they look like good plays. Yeah,
everything's fine here. I don't really have this is a big game. I mean, it's for the division. Everything looks fine. The best plays I came up with were Rashid Shaheed and White. No problem with Olave, but or the Tampa Bay guys. Just I think there's other spots I like a little bit better.
All right, San Francisco, Washington. I know Ron Rivera might be getting fired or whatever the hell's going on with him, but I would like to know why they're playing Jacoby Brissett. That's what I would like to know. Actually, I don't really want to know that. It's definitely more rhetorical.
I kind of feel for them, I have to say, because I've watched them a couple times. They played the Rams, and then they had the other game, and we stacked them so heavy. Sam Howell has been so awful. It's the worst. It's one of the worst I've ever seen any quarterback play in the last few games, the Rams and the Jets. And they literally did it probably just because the team needed to feel like they could move the ball or do something. And immediately they bring him in, and Tyrod Taylor both times immediately balls out. And I just don't see any reason. I think this is a good time not to let Howell get his ass kicked. I guess it's basically the best way to put it, maybe.
All right. So San Francisco coming off a loss against the best best target in DFS, that being the Washington defense. I mean, San Francisco is going to run up a bunch of points. They just are. I don't even know. Purdy's a full participant, so he's going to play. I imagine coming off of his, obviously floor performance in his last, to say the least, in his last game. This is like the perfect get right spot. They're a 100-point favorite, and unlike the Eagles, these guys are going to just keep pushing the gas, especially coming off a loss. I think San Francisco is a really good play across the board. McCaffrey, Ayuk, Debo, yeah, it's hard to figure out which one to play. Kittle, but I mean, they're going to score 35 points. You know, you got to have. There's going to be fantasy points somewhere. So it's one interesting, I think, to note. I don't know if it's that interesting, but I ran 2 sets of builds. One with just my regular Saber score optimals and stuff like that, and the other with using the contest sims where I factor ownership a little bit more. When I ran my regular ones, I was getting like, San Francisco is my highest owned. But then when I ran it with contest sims, I'm getting much less of them.
Yeah.
I guess that means they're going to be owned. That's my okay. That's the answer. Okay.
Yeah.
I was wondering where that would be. Okay, so yeah, they are going to be owned, and I think obviously in Millie Maker stuff, I think you could fade them. But they definitely all look like strong plays.
Yeah.
Oh wait, before I forget, the probably if you didn't want to play the Giants cheapos, or even if you do, I mean Curtis Samuel. I mean, it's obviously, I've said this before, okay, where Curtis Samuel is obviously going to be like the perfect play at really cheap, and he's going to be really chalky. And the last 2 times I said that, nobody played him. They have to play him this week.
I played him. I was with you.
No, I don't mean you. I mean like the field.
Yeah.
But people have to play him this week, right? I mean, it's the combination of not only they're going to be behind, but it's like the perfect type of target like to give to Brissett. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It seems like he's going to be pretty chalky, but I can see why.
Yeah, I'm with you. Curtis Samuel would be my favorite of the Redskins. And I do think McLaurin and Dotson are definitely in play. Remember about the Niners? I keep saying the Redskins. Sorry, the Washington football team. Yeah. Remember the Niners? They don't exactly like.
They're the Commanders now.
No, sorry, Commanders. God damn, way off on this one. The Commanders. Okay. The Commanders side, I like Curtis Samuel the best. The Niners, there's so many pieces. Obviously, it's hard to pick. I do think that it's pretty straightforward that McCaffrey is probably going to be one of the highest, if not the highest scoring player on this slate. I think it's very, very likely. I really don't see a whole lot of bus paths for him, to be honest, outside of injury. And there's not even like variance against him because he's going to get the touches anywhere he needs to, They're still playing for him they want him to win an MVP. He's, the second favorite right now. And Debo would be my next favorite, followed by Ayuk. Kittle will be my next favorite, followed by Debo, followed by Ayuk. I don't think I'm going to play Purdy. Maybe that's a mistake. But I personally just want to use the rushing upside quarterbacks this week when I've got the other guys. So that's it.
I'd rather play. We'll go back to these. But I'd rather play Fields. I'd rather play Hurts. Those types of guys.
Yeah, same.
And Lamar, for example.
And Lamar, yeah. And you could do it all with skinny stacks and still incorporate that.
Speaking of which, speaking of playing for MVPs, you know what I mean? Like, and Harbaugh and Lamar, these two, when they get their now it's arguments, when they get into their freaking flex mode, like they'll put if they have this game in wraps or whatever it is, they're gonna try to get, I think, Lamar the MVP. I think.
Wait, you mean but they're not playing on this slate though. I'm sorry, they're not playing. So they're playing in the morning of this slate. I'm sorry, excuse me. They're not playing. I thought there was another game you were talking about that I was missing, but I was like,
we're talking about.
Oh, you're saying they're going to try? Yeah, I hear you there.
Yeah. And I was saying that he's playing for an MVP also, like Lamar. And I was going back to that game, like they'll get him touchdowns if they can. Yeah.
The only difference is that game is for the whole AFC.
Right. That's why perhaps if the game's wrapped up.
Exactly. Yeah, they might give him an extra one or so. I hear you. All right, bud. What do you got in the Pittsburgh-Seattle game? This afternoon game of the slate.
I mean, tiny little bit of Seattle, and that's and maybe you know what else I'm getting actually, running back. God help me, but I'm getting like maybe not 20%, but like maybe 15 of both these running backs of Kenneth Walker and Najee Harris. So that's pretty much all I have from this game now.
Yeah, I'm not all that interested in this game outside of maybe some Freiermuth, I guess. I'll revisit this. I always like to play Seattle receivers more than the field, but I'm just not getting there this week that much. If I had to make another play, I guess it'd be Metcalf or Lockett, but it depends on what happens with Smith and Jig. But if he's out, though, I would definitely play. I would bump those guys up. He's questionable. All right, Cincinnati and KC.
Yeah, I like KC here. I mean, they're not my 100% favorite, but I like to play Mahomes with Rice. I mean, it seems to be pretty clear. Finally, whatever. He's the man. Double-digit targets in pretty much every game. Like the one that he didn't have double-digit targets, he was 9 for 9. And the other was 8 for 9.
Yep.
Last week, as we mentioned, was kind of a shit show. Like overall, basically the last month and a half for Kansas City's been kind of a shit show. But nonetheless, now they're actually really playing for something. You know what I mean? They got to get this win. And
Oh yeah.
And look, call them what they are. Mahomes is a freaking, champion. And Reed is a champion. They'll come up with something, and they'll probably do enough. I don't know. I kind of like them this week.
Also, this team knocked them out to go to the Super Bowl when they were supposed to be the best team ever.
I don't even care about that at this point.
I think that one stuck with them a little bit. That was the one Mahomes not in the Super Bowl year.
Right. When they ran out the clock, that was his last play. So pretty smart by Cincinnati at the end of that game.
Yeah.
So Chase will probably be back. Well, who knows? But so you can play some of the Cincinnati guys running it back as well. So I don't know if they let these guys go off low owned somehow. Kansas City, that's going to be a problem for everybody else because I'm going to be playing these Kansas City guys.
Yeah, you know what? The more you talk, the more I was into it because I kind of had it. Like I already had Rice. He might be the most popular receiver on the site, but I think it's a pretty good play. I think it's a pretty good reason for it. Rice and Kelsey right around the same price. Pretty interesting. So I think those two, immediately stand out. And then the biggest part though is the running game to me. Like, is Pacheco? If Pacheco's out, I'll just play Clyde Edwards-Helaire and not even think twice about it. We already have no McKinnon. What are we really thinking about here? In a must-win game, if Pacheco's out, I think Clyde Edwards-Helaire is the best running back option because there aren't that many other guys, 5,300. You really got to play Singletary over him when there's nobody to compete for touches with in KC if Pacheco's out?
No.
I don't think so. So I just am having trouble with liking – I still have respect for this KC defense, and it's hard for me to find plays against them. Higgins and Boyd will both be severely underowned. If you want to do Sheets, maybe there is something just to play the hammer stack for KC. Maybe play the running back, Mahomes, Rice, and Kelsey, and then like just one cheap run back like Boyd or even Chase. I think it's viable. It's kind of a different stack than what I was thinking about doing, but you kind of talked to me a little bit more into this game. I think it makes a lot of sense to get some exposure here. So I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to make a note that game is now going as my fourth favorite. All
right. So Denver benched whatever. I don't know what to call it. Russell Wilson. Whole thing's ridiculous. So anyway,
they're going to cut him too.
Anyway, I like Javonte Williams. He's one of the 20% owned guys I have. I like the Denver defense at 2,900. If he plays, you get a low owned. I don't know if he's even low. I don't know, Sutton. I don't know with what's his name throwing in the ball. I don't know if I want to do that. I don't know, but Javonte Williams certainly makes sense. Broncos defense certainly makes sense. I'm kind of Chargers. You got these guys might be coming back. I don't know. In either case, I'm probably off of the Chargers. And as I mentioned, just Williams, I think, and Broncos for me.
Yeah, I saw enough to be convinced on the Gerald Everett being a very good play thing.
Oh, okay. There you go.
And I think that he makes a lot of sense. He's even projecting well at 3,500. Parham should be back, and we'll see. But they looked for him a lot with Easton Stick, and I kind of you always want to speculate on who these young guys are going to look for, and I just thought that he made a lot of sense. So I'll play some Gerald Everett. I don't think I have any interest in anything else in this game at the moment. Maybe with a new quarterback, you could argue for and look, you could play a lot of different. You could play Quentin Johnston, and then none of them are going to be owned. But I was going to say that with Mims, maybe a new quarterback actually looks for him downfield a little bit. Just throwing it out there as the only other thing that occurred to me. But I've got my priorities for this slate as Tennessee, Houston, Miami, Baltimore, pieces of the Vegas Raider game, pieces of the Philly, Arizona game. I do like Gerald Everett, as I mentioned, and then McCaffrey as a priority, but certainly getting to at least one of the San Francisco guys, whether McCaffrey then Kittle are my two favorites. Love Curtis Samuel, as you mentioned, on the run back. Rice, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Gerald Everett, just some guys who I liked a lot that we went throughout this, and we'll be We'll be live on New Year's Eve, right? At 11 Eastern?
Yep.
Beautiful.
Just going to look at something real quick. Yeah, Broncos I had as my highest owned defense, at least for now, in Houston. I have to imagine the Ravens are a good play at 2,800. No?
It's just hard against Miami because they get rid of the ball so quickly. They don't turn the ball over that much. And they don't get sacks.
I guess. All right. Yeah, I'll see you at 11. With this, I'll see you at 11 o'clock. Now, again, for this evening, we're going to do 7:30. We'll try to handle both NBA and football before both blocks.
6:30, yeah.
6:30. Oh, we'll be able to do it easy then. Okay.
Yeah, we've got plenty of time.
Okay.
All right, bud. See you later. Good luck, everybody.